what that first part was, kind of easy.
This is,
What?
why
I
don't,
can't keep having questions, I gotta read.
why don't you just make a Time Masters movie with us in it?
Wouldn't that be wonderful? But
Yes.
you need a lot of people to do it. You need a lot of action places. You need castles and this and that.
I don't like Harry
And we don't have
Potter.
any, and it costs a lot of money. Sit like a Indian
No,
style,
Mrs.
please. Don't
Pete,
sit.
you can get
Okay.
cardboard boxes
Okay.
and make
Oh,
and
yes,
make
you're right.
castles. Yeah.
Okay, shh. All right, now I'm going to talk. Shh. I'm just going to read this once more, and then we'll go over what we read in the first chapter. Okay. The Time Master. Who wants to know? You?
Yeah, me.
Shh, don't talk. I'm just... Who wants to know? You?
Yeah.
You? You? This story has been told many times throughout the galaxy. Are you sure you have the time, mister? Some say after hearing the story, their life is changed forever. Many say he is still out there, you know. Sometimes I don't know what to believe. I have heard it started thousands of years ago. Then again, some say it started yesterday. Go figure. They say he was given the Bracken when he was only 19 years old. Can you imagine that? The Bracken? What is the Bracken, you ask? It's only the most powerful forces of the universe. Some say they have seen one, a medallion-like object made in 3 pieces with a large cross in the middle and some sort of writing. I really don't know. I never saw one. What I do know is that the best of the 12 disciples does. Each of these 12 was chosen to head one of the 12 galaxies in this sector of the universe. Keep the balance so that humanity would flourish. That was their job. You know what that means? That means to keep the balance. Everybody's happy and peaceful. They were called the Peacemakers and the Time Masters. They say on one of the patrols he met a princess and fell in love. I don't know if I believe in love. Sometimes I think it's a fabrication of the August to trick us into letting our guard down. Who are the Augusts, you ask? Man, where have you been? I don't even like to say their name too loud, in fear they may hear me. No, I've never seen one. Anyone that has is dead. Worlds are dead because they have been in the path of the August. I don't want to talk about them anymore. Where was I? Oh yes, I know. He was only 19. How did he fight love at 19 years old, they say? They say the Princess Eris was beyond beautiful. They married and lived happily for 5 years. In those years, they had 2 boys, Ramus and Track. They were fine little guys. Then there was an accident on some planet, and the princess was killed. Between you and me, I'm not too sure if it was an accident. Well, you can make up your own mind. I guess this was the beginning of all the trouble. Those poor boys. But there is hope. I have heard of a prophecy told to me many times of a boy born to one of the sons of a protector, and a woman a great warrior. And that's the summary. You good?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so Time Master, that's the name of it. Now, I'm going to tell you who a couple of the people are. There's the Master Tomo, and he's the Time Master. And he comes to the Shaolin Temple around 540 A.D. Ramus is the son of Badarama. Track is the son of Badarama. And then there's this girl, Maze, that they were talking about. She's the daughter of Badarama's closest friend. And now she protects Koda, the new Time Master. Aris is Badarama's wife. Koda was the son of Ramus. He's going to be the next Time Master. And Abbot Fang Chang. He's the head of the abbot of the Shaolin Temple. And then there's Cypher, and that's Lucifer. And then there's the 12 disciples.
You realize you could just make time in school because they're looking for
Like a play?
an action players before the last day of school.
I don't know if we can do that. Okay, so that's the summary. Now we read some of it already. So I don't know if you remember, but Maze, remember, she was, let me just go see if I can do this quick. There's a battlefield. It's the dawn. It's morning. And see, now Master T has written in here all the shots that a camera will be doing. So he says, the exterior says a battlefield, and it says morning, dawn, and then it says note. They say, go on to Maze. She turns into the camera. In the background, we see fire, and we see smoke. A futuristic battles. That means futuristic things flying around everywhere. Maze is there. It's a battlefield. And then inside Castle Grand Hall, we see a long shot towards the opening of two huge, large doors. Maze says, Ramus, where are you? Maze says, what does Maze say? Maze says, Captain, where's Ramus? Captain says, I saw him and the boy go up the stairs over there. Maze runs to the staircase and she sees a servant there. And the servant says, you're too late. And she looks up in the direction of the nursery where the baby is. Maze climbs the stairs. And now you see in the nursery, you see two people standing there. Maze says, Dakari! And Maze says again, Ramus, are you and Coda all right? Maze says, Ramus, are you all right? Ramus says, yes. Maze says, what happened? Ramus says, Dakari was waiting to surprise me, and then Tyra stepped in front of me. Maze says, I'm so sorry. Maze says, your brother's not far behind me. We need to get out of here. So Ramus hands Coda to Maze, and he places a pillow under the head of Tyra, his wife, and kisses her on the forehead. Ramus stands up. Then we see Maze's face. She's in pain for somebody she cares for. Maze said, let's go. Ramus takes Coda from Maze, and they walk out of the room. Maze looks at Ramus as he walks out of the room and turns to Dakari and kicks him in the ribs. He was a bad guy. Maze says, I knew that would feel good. Now you see them look. You see they're going down the hall, and Ramus and both of them, they're crying. Ramus says, come on, Maze, let's go. Maze says, I'm coming. And now we see all of them enter a transport. Then they disappear. So now you see a castle, a grand hall, and there's explosions, explosion of doors blow in, electronic scouts are flying in, soldiers are following, and the entrance of Track comes in, who's Ramus's evil brother. Remember, Ramus just went into the transport. Yeah. Track says, find my brother! Oh, and General, I want him alive! The General says, yes, sir! The General says, the Track says, General, I said alive. The General says, yes, sir! Track says, I want Dakari at my side when I make Ramus beg for his life. The General says, yes, sir! And all of a sudden we see a spaceport. We see Ramus, Maze, and Coda walk through what looks like a liquid door into a heavily guarded by soldiers. Ramus says, Maze, listen to me. You and Coda are leaving. I have a place where both of you will be safe. I will join you later. Maze says, what are you talking about? Ramus says, follow me. So Ramus starts walking down, carrying Coda. He is headed for a secret room. Maze grabs Ramus by the shoulder to stop him. Maze says, hold on, I'm not leaving you. Ramus says, Maze, this is an order. Don't argue with me. Take this, put it around your neck, and don't lose it. Ramus reaches into his pocket and pulls out a medallion. Maze says, what am I supposed to do with this? Ramus says, this is what Track wants. Ramus hands Maze a strange-looking medallion. Ramus starts walking. Maze stays back behind and looks confused. Then she runs up to catch up with Ramus. Maze says, you and your brother are killing each other over this piece of jewelry, and it's ugly. Okay, then, so Ramus says, no, you don't understand. And Maze says, well, then make me understand. Shh. Ramus says, sit up, please. Sit up. Ramus says, if Trax gets this piece of the bracken, no one in the universe will ever be safe. Sit back straight as straight. You sit back straight as straight. We see the general leaning over Dakari now. The general says, get Track. Soldiers say, yes, sir. Now they're back at the spaceport. Mace says, the bracken. What is this bracken? This piece. You say this piece? How many pieces are there? Ramus says, there's 3. Mace says, 3? Ramus says, yes, and Track already has one of the pieces. Ramus is carrying Coda as he hurries Maze quickly towards a ship, unfamiliar to the design. Maze says, she takes a double take of the ship. She's almost confused to what to ask next. And then she says, wait a second. So Mace says, how did he get this piece? Mace turns, looks, and points to the ship. And what is that? Ramus says, I think it's my father's ship. It was sent here a few months ago with instructions addressed to me. Mace says, how do you know it's your father's ship? Ramus says, I don't know. It's just a feeling I have. And besides, the note that came with it was instructions that signed a friend. Ramus says, I don't know. Oh. Mace says, Ramus, do you hear yourself? Do you hear what you're saying? How can you be sure this ship even works? Ramus says, I've used the ship. You and Coda will be safe. The ship will take you to a place where a friend is awaiting your arrival. Mace says, what are you doing? Where are you sending us? Ramus says, don't worry, you both will be safe. Mace says, I'm not leaving until you tell me. All of a sudden they were back to the nursery where Track is, his brother, that doesn't like him. And he looks upon his friend's body because the other guy had died. Track says, brother, I blame you. I will not rest until I am the only one left. I curse you and our father. And now we're back to the spaceport. Ramus is nervous. He says, Mace, we don't have enough time for this now, okay? Just listen. The place is called Earth. You will meet a priest, a friend. His name is Abba Fan Chang. He will help you and Coda. Mace says, Ramus, I'm not going until I know where you're going. Mace says, tell me about the Bracken. Ramus says, Track and I were each given a piece of the Bracken by our father. Mace says, I thought your parents died in an explosion when you were just boys. Ramus says, well, that's not exactly right. My father was not born on this planet. He comes from a system of stars not yet discovered by our people. He met my mother on one of those patrols through our system. Mace says, patrols? Ramus says, please, just listen. They fell in love and had Track and I. A few years later, on a trip to see friends on our planet, Lilian, there was an accident, an explosion in a spaceport. My mother had been severely injured, and her healers gave no help. When my father found out my mother was dying, he wanted to use the Bracken to save her. She said no. She knew it was against the laws of both my father and the people, and the law of the Bracken. My father would have been a criminal in the eyes of his people, and my mother didn't want that. May says, then your father is alive? That is why you think he sent you the ship? May says, Rama says, yes. May says, well, where is he? Rama says, I don't know. Rama says, my father must have been very troubled by my mother's decision not to let him use the Bracken to help her. That has to be the reason he placed us in the care of his best friend, your father. He probably thought we would grow to hate him for not saving our mother. May says, do you hate him? Rama says, no. But about 10 years ago, the ship arrived with a time-coded message. It was received by both Track and I. It had to be generated by my father before he left. May says, well, what did it say? Rama says, it talked about the Bracken. It seems the Bracken is as old as the universe and has many powers. According to the message, it exists as part of a universal balance, a stabilization force, so to speak. This force is to keep everything together. It keeps everything to work. The Bracken has the ability to change the course of history. Oh, and it's also a weapon. It's believed to have no equal, so the message said. May says, oh, great. Ram says, Track has never been the same since he found our father. Since he found our father, may still be alive. May says, where did your father get the Bracken? Ram says, it seems my father's people were given the Bracken and the responsibility of its safety to help mankind flourish in the universe. My father was chosen by his people to be the guardian. The Bracken supposedly comes with one law and one rule. The law is that life must follow its own path. The rule is, and all of a sudden there's a big explosion in a spaceport, the back of the spaceport. We see soldiers and electronic scouts fly into the spaceport. Ramus takes the Bracken for Maze. Ramus says, when you meet Abafeng Chang, press these 5 symbols on the Bracken in this order. And he showed her the 5 symbols. Ramus says, there is no time. May says, Ramus, please come with us. May says, Rama says, I will meet you. I will meet you at Abafang Chang's. Rama says this knowing that this is the only way Maze will ever leave. Maze takes Coda into the ship, this time by walking into a liquid field that turns solid once they're in it. The ship becomes a liquid-like substance and then disappears. Rama says, goodbye, Maze. You have been like a sister to me. Please take care of our son. I love you both. That's one. Now we're into Act 2, one we never heard before. Good?
Finally.
Wait,
Okay,
is,
ready?
is it the whole thing?
This is all one script. He has 3. Goes after this one and another one.
3 years.
It's really good.
Act 2, space. They're moving through a scene. And all of a sudden we're in a ship. We see the ship moving through a wormhole. The universe changes as Mazes watches from the ship. A wormhole, like the one in the movie Contact. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. A view of the Earth from space. We see the Earth change in appearance as it goes from future to the past. Maze looks over to Coda. Maze says, do I have some stories to tell you about your dad? Then realizing she was not sure if she would ever see Ramus again, tears came to her eyes. Now they're in the ship. We see the ship start to vibrate all of a sudden, uncontrollably, as it hits a blast, boom, from outside the ship. Maze is thrown out of her seat and then onto her control panel where she hits her head. Before she passes out, she notices the counter slowing down. The year 2540 flashes for a second. Then Maze falls to the floor, poof, unconscious. Now all of a sudden we see Cyan Mountains on a northern China, and it's morning time. We see an aerial view of a mountain range. As we observe from above, we see the area move through time. First, the terrain, then the people. And we see a building, like a temple. Training outside are a bunch of monks, people living their lives, war, and the temple being overtaken. The temple is abandoned in ruins. We see slowing down of time. We enter into the final few seconds of the journey. There's a cavern under the ruins of the temple. We see 3 monks sitting as if they were waiting for someone. A ship becomes visible and comes to rest in the cavern. A liquid door opens. The youngest of the 3 monks moves quickly through the door, and in seconds is seen carrying the young child and Maze out of the ship, back into the cavern. Maze is seriously injured. The second monk is seen taking care of her injury to Maze's head. After a few seconds, the monk looks up at the oldest monk and nods his head as if to say, it's okay, she's going to make it. The 2 monks stand up and step back as the old one moves toward Maze. He reaches for the bracken around Maze's neck and without hesitation presses 5 symbols on the bracken. We see the cut to Maze's head as it instantly heals.
Oh, so it's a healing book.
Note, a look is given to the other 2 monks by the elder, a feeling of telepathy, like they were talking to each other, saying everything's okay. And instantly, they move in, they pick up Maze, and they start to leave the cavern. Now in the ruin of the temples we're looking into. Could you please sit up? Thank you. We are in the large room with the temple. We see a secret door which leads to the hidden caverns beneath the temple. It opens, and out comes 2 monks. Coda is being held by the second oldest monk. Maze is being carried by the youngest. Now they're in the cavern, and we see an older monk. We see the older monk standing in front of the ship. He notices some damage on the exterior, a type of damage that seems familiar to him. He walks into the ship, and when we see him standing in front of a counter that reads 2540, he looks up with understanding as well as concern for what he has just seen and walks out of the ship. With three quick kung fu strikes to a stone wall, the ship is enclosed behind a wall of stone. It disappears. Ask her, okay? In the ruins of the temple, we see the older monk as he exits the secret door. Now they exit the Shaolin temple. It's nighttime. We see the gates of the temple open to admit the 3 monks and their guests. One of the many chambers within the temple we're standing in front of now. We see Maze just as she starts to wake. A young disciple leaves the chambers and returns with the 2 elders, monks we met at the ruins. Maze says as she's afraid and she's worried now, she woke up. Who are you? Where's Coda? The boy child that was with me. What have you done with him? Maze demanding now. I need to see Abba Fang Chang. I was told Abba Fang Chang would be here to meet us. Do you understand? Abbott Fang Chang. She didn't think you understand. Put that away. Maze brings her hands to her chest as she remembers the bracket. She's looking for the thing, and the words that he told her about hitting the 5 symbols. Maze says, the bracken. Where's the bracken? Where's the medallion? Where's the medallion I had around my neck? She sees the bracken. It's around the neck of the older of the 2 men. A big man. In a flash, Maze jumps from where she was lying down in an attempt to pull the bracken from the neck of the older monk. And then all of a sudden the younger monk counters her. A fight takes place. The younger monk, though a very experienced fighter, is no match against Maze. She knocks the younger monk back and against the chamber wall. The young monk, a little surprised at what just took place, gives a glance over to the older monk. Like, what? About to jump back into the fight, the younger monk is held back by the arm of the older monk. The older monk says, that was very good. Who taught you how to do that? The older monk sees a style of fighting that he knows very well. May says, my father. Older monk says, your father? He's probably a great man. May says, he was a great man. He died about a year ago. But don't worry, you're about to see a little bit more of what he taught me. May starts throwing kicks and punches at the older monk. He just stands there, blocking everything as if he knew what to expect. He just stood there blocking. May's frustrated, knocked to the ground now. She says, excuse me, who are you? The older monk says, not now, I am saddened. The boy is fine. He sleeps in a chamber close by. Oh, and this is Abbott Fang Chang, the person you see. Please, rest now. We'll speak again in the morning. Abbott Fang Chang, for tonight, I'm going to lock you in this chamber. It's for your own good. You and the boy are not in danger here. We will talk in the morning. Please rest. Outside the door of the chamber now, Abbott Fang Chang says, Tamar, her skills are great. Master Tomo says, yes, my old friend, she is. Now we see Tomo place his arm around Abbott Fang Chang as they walk away. Reese. Outside now we see the courtyard. It's early morning. We see students training as Abbott Fang Chang and Koda watch. Koda is kicking as to imitate the students. Note, now we see Master Tomo approaching Abbott Fang Chang and Koda. Abbott Fang Chang says, good morning, Tomo. You must see this little one kick. Master Tomo says, he looks just like his father. Abbott Fang Chang says, Koda, show Master Tomo your kick. Koda kicks Master Tomo in the shin. Master Tomo says, just like his father. Abbott Fang Chang says, Koda, Master Tomo, I am very sorry. Master Tomo says, Abbott Chang, old friend, I will need to meet with Maze and you after morning prayers. Can you arrange that for me? Abbott Fang Chang nods his head in agreement. We see Master Tomo move into the courtyard. All students and disciples stop training and bow, just like we do here. Master Tomo begins to speak to the students. Master Tomo says, first, you make your habits, and then your habits make you break those habits that you break you. Adopt those practices that will become the new habits that will help you achieve the success you desire. The student says, Master Tomo, how do we know what habits to break? Master Tomo says, rely on your teachers to find the habits that serve you least. Your habits are a form of exercise. The harder you work at something, the harder it is to quit. The easier it is to do, the harder it is to change. Your habits are either the best of servants or the worst of masters. Chamber where Maze is held now, we're back into. Maze hears the students training in the courtyard. After trying the door, she attempts to stack items found in the room in a vain effort to reach a window high above her. As she starts to climb, the door to her chamber opens. Abbott Fang Chang and Koda walk in. Abbott Fang Chang says, did you sleep well? Maze says, Koda, are you all right? Koda runs over to Maze and gives her a big hug. Koda says, I showed Master Tomo my kick. Maze says, Master Tomo? And Maze looks up at Abbott Fang Chang. Maze says, Abbott Chang, Rama said you would help us. Abbott Fang Chang says, yes, I know. You have many questions. I will answer all that I can. First, let me see to the needs of the newest friends, we must first eat to nourish our bodies. In this way, they are made satisfied and comfortable so that our minds can focus on the events of the day. Coda says, Maze, I'm really hungry. Maze looks down at Coda and nods her head. Okay. Now they're outside the courtyard. We see Maze and Coda coming out of the door in the courtyard. Maze is cutting an apple and feeding it to Coda and herself. We see Abifang Chang approach Maze and Coda. Coda runs over to Abifang Chang. The abbot bends to pick up the young boy in his arms. Abifang Chang says, easy, little one. Maze says, Abbot Chang, we must talk now. Abbot Chang, Fang Chang, I know we're going to meet Master Tomo in the garden. There you will find many of the answers to the questions that you seek. Maze says, Abbot Chang, this Master Tomo, who is he? Is it obvious by his features and all the way he speaks he is not from this place? Abifang Chang says, please walk with me. Many years ago, Master Tomo came to our gates here at the Shaolin. He looked very much as he does today. In those days, the Shaolin Temple, as well as I, were both young and without experience. I had so wanted to help the people of this province. They were poor and without guidance. I was young and full of energy. And Abifang Chang notices a young disciple and stops to show her the young boy. Abifang Chang says, Master Po, this is Coda and Maze. They are visiting Shaolin, and they will be our guests. Coda possesses great gung fu. He kicked Master Tomo in the shin this morning. Master Po says, Abbot Chang, a child so enlightened at an early age. Abbot Chang says, I will be sure to tell Master Tomo of the evaluation of the young boy. Abbot Chang smiles as they walk to the garden. Abbot Chang now says, now where was I? Oh, I remember. Master Tomo asked to be admitted to the Shaolin Temple as a student. He was refused. After he was an outsider, we at the temple thought he was a troublemaker. In those times, Shaolin was a different place. Our days were spent mostly in the search of knowledge and prayer, trying to enlighten ourselves so that we could help other people of the village. We made so many mistakes during that time. May says, Master Tomo helped you then? Abbot Chang says, yes. Not yet, almost. Abbot Chang says yes, but not at first. Rejected by the monks as I was myself, Master Tomo went to a nearby cave and meditated until the monks and I recognized his religious prowess and admitted him. You will hear stories of the size of the hole Master Tomo bored into the side of the cave by his constant gaze. It was not as big as some would have believed. The people have stories of. Coda sees children playing and practicing gung fu and wants to play. May says, Coda, stay with me. Abifang Chang says, let him go. He will be enriched by playing with the children. You will need not worry. He will be watched. Maze takes notice of a disciple walking over towards the children as they play. May says, all right, go have fun. Abbot Chang says, when Master Tomo joined the order, he observed that we were not all in good health. Our physical condition was very poor. We were hunched over tables all day and night. We were transcribing handwritten texts. Consequently, we lacked the physical and mental stamina needed to perform the most basic of Buddhist meditation practices. Master Tomo countered this weakness by teaching us all movements, exercises designed to both enhance our chi flow and to build strength. Movements based on 18 main animals: tiger, deer, leopard, cobra, snake, dragon, and so on. This was the beginning of our gung fu training. It was then that Master Tomo became a very respected and loved member of our order. May says, Abbot Chang, Ramus is in danger. Abbot Chang says, I know. We will talk with Master Tomo. He will know what to do. Maze, you have the power within you to do things you never dreamed possible. Listen to what Master Tomo has to say with an open mind. Your power becomes available to you as soon as you change some of your beliefs. Now it's the morning and we see the garden. We see Master Tomo standing there in the garden smelling a beautiful flower. We see a reverse of Tomo and Maze and Abifang Chang. Master Tomo says, good morning. How do you feel? Master Tomo's eyes move from Maze to look at Abbot Chang as his assurance that Maze is okay. Abbot Chang smiles in his assurance. Maze says, much better, thank you. Abbot Chang says, Coda plays with the other children, I see. Abbot Chang says, I will leave you both now. That I may see the needs, so I can see the needs of my students. May says, Abbot Chang, thank you for a little talk this morning. Abbot Chang smiles and leaves the garden. Master Tama says, follow me. We can sit there and this way we can hear. Master Tama points to a spot in the center of the garden. May says, who can hear us? We are alone. Demetrius, shh. Master Tama, May says, who can hear us? We're all alone. Master Tama says, are we? Look around. What do you see? May says, trees, flowers, a garden. Master Tama says, very good. They can all hear. Some see and some may even speak if you know how to listen. But remember, they all can hear. They are all silent witnesses to the lives that we lead and will bear testimony if need to be when asked. May says, now you sound like my father. I've heard this before. Master Tama says, have you? May says, Master Tama, who are you? You make me feel very uncomfortable. I don't like that. There is something familiar I feel, as if I should know you, but I don't. Master Tama says, you have heard this before, because I told you this many times when you were just a child. May says, I don't know you. Master Tama says, your father and mother were very good friends of mine. On some nights I would hold you and tell you stories of great adventures. May says, the only good friend my father's ever really had was Rames's father. His name was Dharma, but you can't be him. You're too young. He would be much older than you are. In a flash, Maze realizes something. Maze says, the ship, you traveled through time. You made yourself young. Maze says, no, wait. It doesn't make sense. Are Coda younger? You're trying to trick me. Master Tama says, no one is trying to trick you. I just don't age as you do. Master Tama says, and what do you know of travel? Maze says, not as much as I would like. I have to admit, I know on my world this technology doesn't exist. Master Tama says, well, yes, that is true. However, you will know all there is to know about travel and its rules. I will teach both you and Coda all I know. May says, you're Rames's father. No wonder I feel I know you. May says, my father would never speak of you anymore after you left. My father said he missed you very much. You were his only and best friend. You were his teacher. May says, the other night in the chamber, I was not able to beat you. You knew exactly what I was going to do, didn't you? Master Tama says, yes. May says, Dharma, why did you change your name? Master Tama says, Dharma in Chinese is Tamo. May says, Rames needs you. Master Tamo says, yes, I know. May says, I don't think you do. Track and Rames are trying to kill each other. Master Tama says, Maze, when you were little, do you remember me telling you about karma? May says, my mother would use that word sometimes when talking with my father. I really don't know what it meant. Master Tama says, we all move through our life on a path we have chosen in a different time and place. Some may call this destiny or karma. For each of us, our path is different. The lessons we are here to learn and the challenges we must encounter are part of our own design and are in place even before we arrive in this world. Our lives unfold each day as if it was a great drama. May says, that's crazy. What you're saying is that Rames and Track were meant to kill each other even before they were born? Master Tamo says, no, that is precisely what I am not saying. Opportunities are presented to us in the form of a lesson we must learn in order to fulfill our destiny. If we choose not to learn the lesson presented to us at the time, we will not be able to reflect on the experience this lesson would have taught us, thereby leaving our decision-making capabilities to chance instead of experience. Master Tamo says, Maze, in our day-to-day lives, we encounter many challenges. The challenges we face force us to make decisions, and it is in these moments our destinies are shaped. Maze says, great. And what of your sons? What was the lesson they had to learn by leaving them when their mother died? Master Tama says, what makes you think it was their lesson? Maze says, look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. It's just that I'm worried about Rames. Master Tama says, I know, but don't worry. It was the path of my sons that have brought you and Coda here to this time in this world. Shaolin is a mystical place where one can gain much knowledge and great skills. May says, the bracken. Rames explained to me what it is. I see you have joined it with another one of its mates. Track has the other. Master Thomas says, yes, I know. For right now, what is important is my grandson Coda. His training and education over the next few years relies on all of us. Coda has been chosen to be the next guardian of the Bracken, and you have been chosen to be his protector. Coda is the real time master. And that's Act 3. And you guys, that's it. Just 20 minutes. Thank you. Guys?
That was
Okay.
30 minutes. I timed it.
Oh, okay.
What about this?
Well, we're not going to read this now. Everybody's going to go for snacks. Right?
All right, you ready?